excuse me, I was first in line before that guy. Why did he go first? Oh, hey guys. Hey guys, sorry, I was just rehearsing for things in my things in my normal life. How are you though? You good?
Whoa, sounds fun, man. All right.
That's great, man.
From the Free Press, this is Honestly, and I'm Barry Weiss.
Nice to meet you.
One of my sister's favorite icebreakers to ask at a dinner party, in addition to asking people's goal weight, is this. What's your favorite conspiracy theory?
Seems normal.
There's the idea, the classic, that the CIA killed JFK.
That's what I talk about at dinner parties.
Fake, or 9/11 was an inside.
Oh, wait, 9/11 was an inside job? Hey, I'm Barry Weiss's sister. Thanks for inviting me. So what do you guys think? 9/11 inside or outside? What do you think? It's called an icebreaker, morons. Okay, great. This video came up for me recommended, so none of my business, not my fault. People give Barry Weiss a hard time. You know, they give her a hard time.
Boom.
They say. But I listened to this whole 1 hour video, background style, Joe Rogan style. The Joe Rogan podcast listener approach to learning and listening to things by using 2% of your brain is what I did. And I found this absolutely fascinating. I find things fascinating because I have a childlike wonder to the world. But it's kind of interesting, you know, this whole media crap with this Epstein stuff. Because it seems like there's a lot of people who don't want to talk about this, but they're like, oh, my audience really wants me to talk about this, so I'll do it.
How do I do this?
Then, of course, there's the deep state, chemtrails, QAnon, the Illuminati, reptilian overlords.
Yeah.
And then
there's the belief that,
generally speaking, Chinese people look Chinese. You know?
It's really easy to joke about these theories and to
No,
dunk
it's
on
not.
them.
No,
It's
hard.
much harder to reckon with the fact that many Americans sincerely believe them.
I agree.
And the reason why is because of the fact that some conspiracy theories turn out not to be theories.
Not to be theories.
They turn out to be true.
So yeah, man, you know, I read a story about the Free Press. This is a Free Press. They're wacky, you know. They're crazy, you know what I mean? And like a week ago, I was like, I wonder what weird thing they're going to come up with for the Epstein thing. And all I could find at that time, like a week ago, was one article that was kind of I very much got the vibe it was a very nothing to see here kind of, you know, oh, look into it if you want, but it was like that kind of thing. So, when I saw this video, I was so excited. I was straight up on the reel going like, okay, that's more than enough of that. When I saw this come up on my recommendations. But this one immediately, the like red flag started going up when she's like, look at all these crazy conspiracy theories, you know? You know, look at all this crap, you know? Oh, there's a lizard man on the moon. People believe that. What the hell's going on with these doofuses? And that's the sort of lead in. She goes into this thing where it's like, where do we draw the line? You know, when is speculation healthy and when does it go too far? Some of this Epstein stuff appears to me to be going a little too far. You know, that kind of thing. And it would be like, well, I would say that this podcast could be like a couple minutes long. It's an hour, but it could be a couple minutes long. Where it's just like, well, there's a lot of evidence for this one. Yeah. It's a lot of very public evidence. Yeah. So, there we go. Wrap it up.
To help us understand why the Epstein conspiracy is so sticky. And why
help.
Conspiracy theories in general are so compelling to us.
Right.
And maybe most importantly,
I would say
how
this
we
one's,
might better...
Whoa, jeez. Oh, beep, beep, beep. I better back up. I'm driving down a one-way street, it seems. Okay, give me a chance. Now I forgot what I was going to say yet again. Oh, right. I don't think this one is exactly the same as lizard men or whatever the hell you were talking about. Oh, again, and this could have ended the podcast very early because there's an overwhelming amount of evidence. Okay? That's kind of the very clear dividing line. Have a good night. You know, this is Barry Weiss, so she's smarter. I think she's smarter. So she's smarter than, like, some of these guys who will come out, you know, like Charlie Kirk will just come out and say, I pooped my pants. Let's focus on that. You know, it's less of that. Or like Tim Pool, who just comes out and he's like, press record. Tim, did you write anything down? No, just hit record. Check this out. This is like Lord of the Rings. And Trump's a hero for doing this. Back to you. Okay, Tim, but wait, we're going to publish that? You know, she's a little smarter than all that. This is more like old school media approach. Where the kind of setup for this is like, hey, look, there are real conspiracies. That's true. Hey, well, what did I do? Don't yell at me. Yeah. But when do they go too far? That's what we need to think about, I believe. That's a pretty sane, rational thing to say, but this might not be the case for that. I'm sure there's somebody on the internet who's like, Jeffrey Epstein was actually two little guys standing on the other's shoulders and wore a coat or something, but most people are just like, hey, this guy was connected to a lot of people. Where are there strings that connect all the pins in this corkboard? This is one where most people are kind of like generally on the same page. So the setup to this is a little fishy. You know what I mean?
To help us understand why the Epstein conspiracy is so sticky and why conspiracy theories in general are so compelling to us. And maybe most importantly, how we might better engage with those who believe them.
I've been engaging
is
with
one of my
badly.
favorite guests of all time, Ross Douthat.
Oh.
Ross is an opinion columnist at the New York Times.
I had some familiarity with those kind of conspiracy theories, but I had never become interested in them. And sadly, I've become interested in them. But I don't actually have some kind of belief about UFOs. I'm not committed to any kind of theory about what's going on.
You better figure it out, because Joe Rogan, I've heard, has been losing interest. He's become disillusioned with the whole UFO. Okay. Wait, I just wanted to point out the prominency here of the... Is it prominence? Sorry. Hey, shut up in the comments. I can already see them. The prominence of the maximum occupancy 20 sign right there. Ross really wanted to get that in there. He's trying to make sure he gets his deposit back here. Hey, it says 20. There's just one, me.
I want to get to Epstein in a minute.
You got 20
seconds. Before we get there, and obviously this is all related.
Okay.
But it seems to me right now,
me too.
Certainly as opposed to when we were growing up, like let's say 20, 25 years ago, that the prevalence of conspiracy theories just feels much, much more widespread.
Yes.
And the,
I
guess the shamelessness of them is pretty profound. So I watched a clip the other day. I don't even know.
So yeah, again, I love when people say that. That always makes me feel bad. I'm like, oh, where did I put that thing? Again, it's in your hand. Oh, so I'm an idiot. That's how I feel about that. But again, it's true. There are shameless, baseless conspiracy theories. This is one where I haven't seen too much of that. Maybe that's just me. I mean, one of the ones that she seems to be implying is like a shameless, baseless crap, is that this guy might have been working on behalf or with some governments. That's not in the realm of evidencelessness, But that's what's fascinating about this video. It's like, okay, it seems like I kind of don't really want to talk about this, but my audience keeps bringing it up to the point of where avoidance is not an option. So, okay, conspiracy theories in general. What the hell is with that? And, also let me tack on this to that. In a way.
Extraordinary. And again, I agree. I think if you really delve into the details of the case and try and think about like what would be the incentives of Mossad to have their honeypot blackmail guy hanging out right with a former prime minister.
Okay. I just think they have better
that would be a really bold
tradecraft.
It would be a really bold kind of tradecraft.
I just think the people that are capable of carrying out the beeper operation have shown a level of tradecraft and sophistication that this guy doesn't have. But let's just take one step back and set up the Epstein.
Okay, yeah, interesting. So this is like, red flag number 2, 3, 8, 9, 100. People are talking about this all over online. People are all over American online talking about this. This is not new. This is a theory. Yeah, it's like a theory in the scientific sense, where like even they admit, none of my business. They even admit this in this interview where they're like, yeah, it's not too much of a leap that this guy had some government connections. Will that ever be confirmed? I would guess no. I don't know. But there definitely is, people have pointed out that there's evidence to that degree. And this is where Barry gets into the wacky zone, where she's like, it doesn't make any sense to me because of the exploding beepers thing. And I guess she's saying here, wow, they're really sophisticated. Wow, they can pull off these amazing things. I mean, if you look at any press other than the stupid free press crap, the reporting on that is not just like, wow, what an amazing accomplishment of spycraft or so. Definitely not. I would just Google that one. That's a scandal too. So I don't know what the hell she's talking about. To her, that's where it gets wacky. To her, that's, wow, that's so cool kind of thing. No, it's not. I mean, really, if anything, if you read about that story, that would be evidence in the opposite direction because it's crazy.
This guy doesn't have, but let's just take a one step back and set up the Epstein
Calm
thing.
down. Okay.
I agree with you that there's a kind of there. If you were looking for a case where there is a tremendous amount of dark matter, I don't know if you could find any more than the story and the case of Jeffrey Epstein. So for those people that are unlike us.
Okay, hell yeah, I really like this part. Because look, hey, I'm not saying anything. Not my fault. But I feel like this is like subtly misleading, Maybe not intentionally. What do I know? But they came up with this idea called dark matter. I think Ross, Maximum Occupancy 20 Ross, came up with this, where dark matter is the spaces in between the evidence, Oh, we got a little bit of evidence. What the hell? What connects all this crap? That's the idea that he came up with all by himself of dark matter. And what I think is kind of misleading about this, but very elegant, subtle, maybe not on purpose, is when she's like, you could not think of a better thing than this Epstein crap as an example of dark matter. Just stuff that we don't know, so you fill in. I think the implication is like, so people fill in whatever crazy crap they think. But like the thing with this case is that there's a lot of light matter. I'm going to call it light matter. There's a lot of light matter, and just by the law of physics that I know about, I know a lot about, and am an expert on, the light matter crowds out the dark matter. Let's just say it takes up more space. And they were just talking about UFOs, where there is, there's some quote-unquote evidence of UFOs, and then it's just like all dark matter. So to me, this is kind of misleading. Or even the biggest conspiracy theory, the one that I believe I'm not allowed to say on YouTube, where I get some kind of like Wikipedia thing. Oliver Stone made a film about it. There's more dark matter in that one. So it kind of seems like, look, people are just filling in all crazy crap on this one. That's like the subtle implication I'm picking up here.
Why are conspiracy theories rising in this particular moment? Right. Or is it just that the internet gives us a sense that they're more prevalent when actually they've always been really prevalent? That's the thing I'm really not sure about and trying to understand myself.
Me too.
I think it's obvious.
I did think this part was a little weird because they do actually talk about some of the evidence in this case. The actual piece of, not all of them, but some of them is fine. But then we keep coming back to this idea of just conspiracy theories in general. What the hell is with them? And Barry Weiss goes into this thing about how, in times of distress, technological change, and people are, they're like, what the hell, In those kind of times, people get conspiratorial.
People get conspiratorially minded.
I mean, she's definitely better at talking about this than the goofballs. We look at PBD or whatever. I don't know, let's look at a chart or whatever. But it's still like not totally working, because it's like, yeah, that's true. In times of distress or in times of just like society's falling apart, people are uneducated or whatever the hell. Like it's definitely true for like racist conspiracy theories or just like completely stupid ones with no evidence that make no sense and all this kind of crap. But this just seems like her trying to lump every conspiracy theory together, including this one, This is on you guys. What the hell is with all this crap? It kind of feels like that. When this is really one where that does not apply, it does seem like most people are like, what is this evidence? We're seeing evidence, and we're also watching some kind of what looks like Coverup or something. Then they're doing goofy, weird, like literal conspiracies, not theories, where they like give people folders. They wander out with the folders. Like, most of this is just people looking at this saying, what the hell is this crap? But she really wants to lump it in with every which one.
Right.
Do you think the following theory would qualify as simple or Baroque?
Yes, I do.
Jeffrey Epstein was a highly charismatic con man.
Give that guy
His
a break.
business, such as it was getting compromising information on people and using that compromising relationship to extract money, favors, influence, and power from them. And he was politically neutral in the sense that he was willing to build those kinds of relationships with everybody, as long as they had power and influence, whether they were in the fields of math, science, politics.
Okay, this is kind of interesting. And again, this is kind of like subtle kind of thing. Again, it's not Tim Pool, oh, look, my hat's off, or whatever the hell he does on that stupid channel. This is more subtle kind of stuff, seems more reasonable. And she goes on this thing where this guy, Ross, 20 max capacity Ross, she's like, oh, you wrote this thing somewhere? On a notebook or something? You wrote this thing about how you can test a conspiracy theory. If you're getting a little crazy, if you're getting a little too crazy or not, And one of the things is like, keep it simple, And then she's like, so how about this? What if this guy was just like a catch me if you can style con artist? He's just like target these people. Hey, give me a car. And then they go, no, Jeffrey, you don't get a car for free. And then he goes, I blackmail you then. And they go, fine, give him the car. Yeah, I really think like none of these people want to talk about this. They're hoping this goes away, Whether it's Tim Pool or Chuck Kirk or whoever the hell, Barry Weiss, whoever, they want this to stop. And that's what this, effectively, that's all this is, what she just said. What about this? Hey, you have this thing, this conspiracy theory checker. When am I getting a little squirrely in the noodle? When it gets too complicated, So let's simple it down. This guy's he's Leonardo DiCaprio. Catch me if you can, but way, way worse.
Way worse, man.
And I mean, like, Glenn Greenwald and a bunch of people have done videos about this where they're showing the, high-level connections in governments and intelligence and all this crap. So you would first kind of just stop looking at that as evidence, Or you would just be, like, in your own version of dark matter, as they call it, where you're just like, this is what I think happened. I can't prove that, just like I can't prove the other thing beyond a reasonable doubt or whatever. So this is just basically she's saying this is the version I like better. This is just a con man, nothing to see here, I guess. Like, what's the point of this? Like, if we don't have like a smoking gun on either thing, then what the hell is the point of this? I mean, except to ignore some of the pieces of evidence that, like, what's the guy's stupid name? Glenn Greenwald has talked about, or whoever. It does sound like a version of, like, let's just have this go away. This guy was just a con artist. He's gone. Forget it. Doesn't it? That's kind of the vibe. That's kind of the vibe I get. I mean, you could even go the Tim Pool route with this one. We're going to kind of ignore some of the evidence we don't like, so how about this? He was a Lord of the Rings Marvel.
It was a conspiracy theory. It was a liberal-coded conspiracy theory. And just in the last 2 months, right, you've watched as Trump has behaved totally bizarrely.
Kind of weird.
Around the issue, you've watched this swing and become a zone of frantic, fevered speculation on the left, where
frantic
the idea
and
now
fevered?
Is that this is Trump's Watergate, right? Okay. And that there is some, there is some secret here about Trump that is so, so dark and poisonous that he's willing to stonewall and betray his own followers in ways he hardly ever does in order to cover it up. Weird. It's been really interesting to watch, not that they're going in for the most fevered conspiracy theorizing, but a publication like The Bulwark, for instance, right, which is a sort of vehemently anti-Trump publication.
They better not be.
Was not giving the Epstein allegations like the time of day for most of the runtime of this scandal, has suddenly switched into like full coverage mode, right? And it's like, Bill Kristol.
That's because it's politically terrible for Trump.
Because it's politically terrible for Trump, but there also is this newfound.
Yeah, now it's getting real weird, man. Now it's getting real weird because everything's like, let's be careful, and kind of subtle, you know? But this seems to be implying, like, look, this is a little political, man. These people just don't like this president. These people just don't like this president, man. I think that's a large part of it. And then he's like, oh, now it's all this frantic crap. Frantic? I mean, there is frantic crap going on, like on Tim Pool's channel, who I keep watching, you know, despite that I would like to maintain some sanity. And really, honestly, it's like people who are not right-wing kooks who were really following this from the beginning, like TrueAnon really blew up. But it's like, what the hell is the Bulwark, by the way? Some kind of crap or something? What is that thing? Some kind of a crap or something? Whatever that crap is, like, yeah, probably more people are going to talk about it when you're like, oh, here's some folders, and people are wandering around with folders, and then they say, oh, no, there is nothing. And then you have all these weirdos, like Charlie Kirk says, let's not talk about this anymore. Like, if you got that much weird stuff going on, yeah, probably people don't talk about it a lot are going to see that. But I love the subtle implication here. People are going a little crazy, going a little squirrely about this, man. A little frantic and fever dreamed about this. The Free Press is hilarious. The Free Press should be called the nothing to see here. Please move on, business as usual press. Let's check the comments right quick. What does this rancid guy right here say? He goes, is Ross broadcasting from a Holiday Inn Express conference room? Hey, stick to the relevant crap, man. Well, there we go, guys. Another example of my YouTube feed recommendations being absolutely destroyed with crap like this. But anyway, I got news. I just got an incoming news that it's Friday. Sorry, I blew it. Wednesday. Oh man, I really blew that one. What a letdown that one was. Sorry about that. We're in the dark matter of days, Wednesday. Who even are you, Wednesday, you idiot? We say. And Wednesday looks at us with his stupid face like, you know, moron of absolute moron of a day. But it is
for one day.
So, you know, don't worry about it. Hope you have a good one. Bye-bye.
Oh, hello there, sir or madame. Welcome to the best part of the video, the end, where I get to speak. Oh, you're in my world now, Grandma. Remember, that's from Happy Gilmore. Yeah, they made a number 2 of that. Wait, what the hell was I talking about? Oh yeah, subscribe on Patreon. Hey, please subscribe on Patreon, because you're missing episodes. Every single week, you're missing episodes. Frankly, and I don't throw this kind of thing around, but the way better episodes. So you can subscribe just by clicking the link in the description. Takes you right there. I mean, takes you direct there. Yeah. So check that out for as little as $2 per month. Absolutely forgettable amount of money. You get every episode you're missing. Oh, ho, ho. Unbelievable. I literally can't believe it. But guys, I gotta go. I have a lot of cool things to do that I can't talk about because they're way too cool. See ya next time. Bye.